So Intamin just updated their website, and with the new update to their website, they added new clonable models for their Ultra Coaster, LSM Coaster, Vertical Lift Coaster, and Spinning Coaster. Today we will be going through these layouts and theorizing where these new clonable models could be going to and what they mean for Intamin in the coming future. And probably the biggest news story of this week, you probably already heard about it. It's stunt pilot and RMC Raptor coming to Silverwood. And all of that and more coming up in this episode of Coaster News Flash.
California Coaster Riders. California Coaster Riders. CCR. CCR. California Coaster Rider. Coaster Rider.
So I don't want to bore you guys with the details of this new stunt pilot coaster. I know that you guys probably already know that RMC is down the road from this park, so it just makes sense for them to get an RMC Raptor, and you guys probably already know that they tested out their topper track on one of their wooden coasters already. So this was just an inevitability, and that this was just going to happen eventually in the future. So yeah, I don't want to bore you with the details of how it's just like a clone of Railblazer and all that. But the most interesting thing about this coaster, and the most thing I'm excited to see, is that instead of having 3 trains of 8 cars, this is going to have 2 trains of 10 cars. And that is going to be so crazy sitting in the back row of this coaster. It's going to give so much whip. After riding Railblazer in the back, I was like, that's probably the most violent coaster I've ever ridden. And a lot of people say it's the most violent coaster they've ridden. The only thing is that it's just too short, and that's so the pacing is good all the way through the ride. But that's just going to be so crazy in the back row, and I can't wait to see it run and test. But yeah, so I think it's going to be a great addition, and that area of America could really use an elite coaster. So let's go ahead and move on to the new Intamin models on their website that they just updated. So first off, there's the Ultra Coaster new layouts, and there's 2 layouts. There's the non-inversion layout and the inverting layout. The non-inverting layout is pretty similar to the standard Megalite layout, but the inverting layout is pretty interesting, and because that's not a coaster I would think to have an inversion on it, a Megalite, but I don't see many parks buying Intamin Megalites in the past few years, and I don't think many more will, because the Raptor is basically a better Megalite, about the same profile, takes up less space probably, and is pretty cheap, and Intamins are notoriously expensive. So that's just something I thought that was cool. I don't really see much of an impact on the amusement industry by this new model. Next up, we got that LSM launch coaster, and this new model is an interesting one. It's not a very big LSM launch coaster, and I don't see much value in this. So in this coaster, I don't see a park buying this model in the near future. I don't know. It just doesn't look like too groundbreaking. So I think that it could be bought potentially, but I mean, Intamins are expensive, and this isn't a very big coaster, and it'll probably still be pretty expensive. Kind of gives me like Blue Fire vibes. I don't know, but with like a backwards section. I know they're building a backwards going Blue Fire clone in like Australia or something. So yeah, it does kind of give me Blue Fire vibes, but I don't see this coaster being bought by a park in the near future, so I'm just going to move on. Next up, we have a pretty interesting one. We have the Vertical Lift Coaster, and this is like a clear response to like the Zamperla Thunderbolt Eurofighter model, that kind of model. But just look at that Cobra roll. How many supports can you count on that Cobra roll? Maybe like 20? Like a Cobra roll doesn't need more than like 4 supports typically, and that is just a absurd number of supports. I don't know why that is, but this ride just in general looks like it has so many supports. Once again, now it does say it has LSM propulsion, which is great. Vertical launches are amazing. After riding Wicked, that was great. And then I don't see this catching on either. I mean, it's people aren't gonna pay the Intamin price just to get a coaster that Gerstlauer can probably build for cheaper, so I don't see this catching on either. And then finally, we have the spinning coaster model that they just released. And the example that they show in this picture is the only spinning coaster they've built is Tornado. And people say that's a pretty extreme spinning coaster. And I wonder if that's the same spinning coaster car model they're used for this layout. Because this layout looks extreme. And those cars tend to spin a heck of a lot, unlike a not so intense layout. And that would be really cool if they could put this on the layout they show in the clonable model, but I don't think those are the trains they would use. And I actually think this could potentially catch on because, as we know, time travel and Mack rides in general, the other manufacturer of extreme spinning coasters are also super expensive. So no matter what, a park is going to be paying a lot if they want an extreme spinning coaster. So I do think this could catch on, and I'd be interested to see the train design. And this does look like something Mack rides would build. Oh gosh, it's Mock rides. You guys are gonna correct me in the comments. God damn.